Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk with you about budgeting, financial planning. It's never too late to start. Really, I'm old school, and so because of that I use a notebook, and so I feel like a notebook is simple. And so if you're in high school or if you're on the older side of the spectrum, you'll have access to these things either way, and you wouldn't have to teach yourself to use a computer or some fancy phone or some fancy app. But you can do this, anywhere. And so, first of all, there's so many of us that live paycheck to paycheck. And when there's a budget in place, and not just how you spend your money, but when you try to really plan and budget all the other things around you, you find that it offers, or it makes for, I believe, a better quality of life, when you're already planning for the unexpected to a certain degree, as well as, knowing that you can set a goal to achieve, and whether you want to purchase something huge like a home or a car, or you just want to budget for clothes or shoes, or just any personal item to you that you feel like will bring you some joy. I just wanted to talk about that briefly. And if you're not budgeting, how can you get started? So first of all, I feel like you really have to know all the money that you have coming in at the month. Like, see it on paper. Just like they say, when you're wanting to know what you're eating throughout the day, if you're looking at changing how you eat, you really have to journal everything that you're eating. I'm not going down that lane, but I feel like you need to also write down all of your expenses for the month. And so when you see your expenses, because some of the times you get your paycheck and you're like, you get a decent amount of money, but then you're trying to figure out where's all that money going at the end of the month. And really, I feel like you have to put it on paper in front of you. You have to bring it to the forefront to see where is all your money going, pretty much. And just really to start, I like to think that when we think of income, a lot of us, it's that 9 to 5, but I encourage you guys, it's different times. I encourage you guys to have an opportunity where you can build and create income from multiple. So, all about the side hustle, or taking up a little gig, or just doing anything that can generate some additional income for you, that you're not just relying on one source. I know that they say that, most millionaires have 7 different sources of income. Don't know who said it, but that's what I've heard, and I'm going to take it as general knowledge. I'm just trying to get to the 7 sources, so I will encourage everybody to do the same thing. Get in the forefront exactly all your expenses, and so before you get to that, how much you get paid. And when you talk about getting paid, we want to make sure that money set aside for your 401k. I know that your 401k maybe not doing the best right now in these times when the economy is not good, but you still don't want to leave any money on the table. So if your employer offers some money, a match to a certain percentage, you want to take advantage of that. So when you've taken out your 401k, and if you take out all your health benefits and all the expenses, what are you netting in terms of your income? Have that figure down, so this is what you're taking home at the end of the day. This is what is hitting your bank account. I'm assuming by now most people have a direct deposit wherever they work, because checks are risky. so we have direct deposit. What are your expenses that you have going out every month? Write those down. List all your expenses: utilities, food, the necessities, gas, credit card bills, any fees, and or rent. So when you have all these things written down, then you have a good picture of, okay, this is when I'm getting paid. These are all my expenses that I have for the month. And then from there, I like to create my budget 4 months in advance. I feel like there's always something happening, different times of the year. And so it gives me an opportunity to plan for these things that are happening. And when I do it 4 months in advance, it allows me to make any changes when there's time to redo that 4 month period if there's something that has changed within, and I can make that adjustment versus just doing one set thing and having to undo it and just living by that one set thing, because life is not the same month after month after month. You have, sometimes there are different expenses that pop up and then you have to make accommodations for that. So just to really give you some perspective, on what that looks like, I've really jotted down some few things, and I know hopefully this is not throwing things off for you, but what I've really done when I say I do it 4 months in advance, I pretty much just list the 4 months, and above that I list the days that I get paid. And then along the same column, basically I list all the expenses, and then I list the date that they're due, so we can match them up against, when that paycheck is coming in. And like I said, to talk about, look at how much income you have, as well as what are the expenses that are going out of the month, so you can plan, which bill will be paid from which paycheck as that goes. And then when I also usually keep my utilities, any miscellaneous, any taxes, and the miscellaneous, of course, the unexpected expense that may come up, like a ticket. And so I have that. That I have space to can say, okay, that can happen this month. And then of course the regular utilities or the standard fixed bills. And when we even talk about utilities, you can even budget for that. I know my electric bill is not as high because the AC is not on, but then my gas in the winter time, it's a little bit higher, just because we are heating the home. It's either or. One, it fluctuates, so one is low and the other is high, and it goes vice versa throughout the year. And so I actually call my utility companies and I say, hey, over the last year, what has been my average bill per month, and can you put me on a budget so that I know every month, regardless if my bill is really supposed to be a certain dollar amount, it will be the same. So in the months where consumption is high, then I know I've already paid, a standard payment to pay into that, so it remains across the board. And that's the consistency. So it allows me to budget better when I know that these things are going to be consistent. And so I need the light and I need the gas. And so because those things have to get paid, I can factor them and plan for them in my budget. And then of course, try to save. I feel like it's hard for me to save if I have debt, and I have come to the realization that there is going to be debt in life. I've accepted it. I just learned how to manage it, and managing it is planning and doing this budget. And so when it's hard to think that I'm putting money away in a savings account, and then the savings account that is only yielding maybe 2%. I mean, I say 2%, that's a lot. Versus each month I may have a credit card debt, and then that credit card is charging me 10 or 15%, per month. And so I feel like I'm losing there. And so I'd rather, not save until I can make sure that I don't have any credit card bills. And I usually think of my credit card as that area or that cushion that allows me to cover some of those unexpected expenses. How I do my expenses. But I also want to talk to you about investing, because it is so good. And now, based on the economy where we are in a bear market, and a lot of the other companies are really silent in terms of how their performance is, we can really pinpoint where the areas that there are companies that are doing really well, or we anticipate these companies to do really well. And I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of resources that are out online that talks about, and that can assist with you, even classes, master classes that can assist with you and help to guide you with investing. But I believe that investing is a really huge opportunity for you to change that shift of living paycheck to paycheck. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but that's something I'm working towards. And so as I go through that journey, I will be happy to share that journey. But I feel like now is the time, right? I encourage you guys, if you're not already having additional sources of income, look at what opportunities are there. Get to understand what's happening in the stock market, and so that you can use this opportunity now as things are changing, that you could also be involved in some of the money that's going to be made from these changes that are coming. That is there. I'm a true believer in having to debt. So of course I believe in credit cards, and I know credit cards, in America, it is very important for you to have a healthy credit score, and because these are the things that allow for additional opportunities to you. And of course, the better that number, the cheaper credit will be for you. And so, when you have these cards, I encourage you to, get a credit card, that offer rewards. And so when you have a credit card that offer rewards, you can use this credit card to pay even for some of these expenses, whether it be your utilities or just whatever. You can go through and see, based on your budget, which one will allow you to pay for through a credit card. And then you use your credit card, and of course, pay off that credit card at the end of the month so that you don't pay interest. But if it's too much and you need to carry it for a month or two, then you budget for that accordingly. And while you do that, then this gives you an opportunity to gain rewards through that credit card. I also keep store cards just because, I have my favorite store that I like to shop from. And so when I have the store card, it's kind of the same effect. I do my purchases through the store using their loyalty card, and then pay it off immediately if I can. If not, then I budget it for the next couple of months. I incorporate it into my budget and pay it off quickly. But that way I earn points. And sometimes what these loyalty programs will do, they will reward you. So they reward you with either the store cards or store money, so to speak, that you can use, within their stores. And, that's free stuff that you get for doing nothing out of the normal that you wouldn't already do. And so I recommend those, as well as, like I said, the credit cards, because a lot of my tickets when I travel, I'm able to buy based on points that I have, and all of these points that I've accumulated is just based from my regular everyday expenses. So, look at the different loyalty program, look what, meets your needs, and, weigh the pros and cons and see really what would be best for you or your family. Use this time in quarantine to create one. Look at, all your expenses, as well as, revisit your income and your income possibilities and see what can happen there. I know that these are hard times, very hard times for a lot of Americans and a lot of people around the world that are losing their jobs. And so, of course, I'm sure maybe a budget is the last thing, or maybe the budget is what's really going to be really important, because you have to really reflect on where you will be getting any resource to cover the expenses that you have, or start early to make phone calls to your creditors that you can make some concession or some plan or some payment arrangement with them to allow for you to get sleep at night. Because I know what it's like to have a bill and not know how you're going to get the money to pay that bill. And sometimes it keeps you up, but I've learned that I should just really go to sleep, because it's not going to change anything. So don't let me not lose sleep over it. But, have conversations. I am a big fan of, talking things through. And I feel like, call your creditor and talk with them. They know very much what the situation is right now. And a lot of them are already willing to, already have plans in place on how they will help their customers. And so I encourage to have those conversations and not lose sleep. And if not, call those creditors. Don't hesitate to call a friend, call family, or just call someone. You never know, sharing your story, who can help and how much they can help. So I would encourage you to even phone a friend, so don't forget to leave a comment. Let us know if you're currently budgeting, what have you found that has worked best for you? Is that the cash envelope method? Are there other methods that you're using? Let us know in the comments. As well, we can all learn from each other. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to love you and leave you until next time. Take care and stay blessed.